So at what point does or can a loan make your business progress, and at what point can a loan make your business run down?
Now, first of all, loans are good. One thing when you're going for loans, what the bank looks at is the cash flow.
To you who's watching ECHELITE Media, you're welcome to the Profit Path program. My name is Charles, and we are here to discuss business, and as usual we bring topics. So keep yourself glued to ECHELITE Media. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, ECHELITE Media. You can as well go to our social media platforms and get to know some good topics that we normally discuss. So tonight here we are discussing about ways of growing business, and I have a privilege to have my very guest here, and that is none other than Julius Echeret. Julius Echeret is Managing Director, ECHELITE Investments Partners Limited, to share with us his thoughts, because he comes from the background of banking, insurance, and also public speaking, to understand this context of making business grow. My name is Charles, and without wasting time, I want to welcome Julius here. Julius, you're most welcome to this program. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Charles, for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for the great work that you're doing. By the way, I study you, I watch you.
You watch,
and you've been having some incredible guests that have impacted my life. It's all over window homes that say that once a man's mind, or once a man or a woman's mind is expanded by an idea, a thought, or an experience,
yes,
it will never be satisfied to going back where it was. That's why you find that there are so many people, Charles, that will be watching these programs that you hold, and they find meaning, value, and encouragement, hope to try something that you may never meet them. But because they took their time to watch you, what you're doing in here, they become, just like Mother Teresa would say, they become a pencil and the handwork of God, and they begin writing a new chapter of their own life.
Okay, then that's a great one. He has brought it from those philosophers talking about being a great man in what you do, and that is why today we are looking at the best practical ways that someone can use or do in order to promote and stay in business, make your business grow. You know, in most cases we go into business, but then we don't understand how best can your business grow from small scale to large scale, but above all, even when it stays up there, how do you stay on top? So Julius, let's begin from there. Let's look at business. Someone starting business from scratch, from developing an idea. I remember in our previous topics we looked at how someone can start business, growing it from small to a certain level, and then now today we are saying how can someone stay on top.
Okay, thank you so much, Charles. First of all, you find that in most cases we begin businesses, people start businesses, and they remain celebrating average success at mediocrity.
Yes.
Why? The first thing to consider is that the growth of the business is directly correlated to the growth of the owner.
So it's not about the business, it's about the owner.
Look, your eyes are blind to what your brain is blind to. If you as the owner of the business is not able to see it grow to this level, and your mind is seen here, this business will never go to this level. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So the character and the capacity of the owner to run that business matters a lot for that business to hit where it is supposed to be. Okay. I wanted to use an example, but for the business to grow, the owner has to grow. That is the first thing. Secondly, there are a few things that, before I would talk about business growth, there are three things that I would cite out when somebody begins business.
Yes.
Usually when we begin, we run to grow that business. But once you begin the business, you're testing the idea. The first thing that you're going to do is to sustain the idea that you are that you have started. Yes, you've started in this product line, you've started with this service. Can you be able to provide that service over a period of time and confirm that the metrics that you're going to measure in that business are worth that business growing? We begin businesses in most cases with instincts. I think if I opened a car washing point at this place, it's going to work. Then when you test the idea and it has started working, then you rush to grow it, you will fail. Because business growth, you don't grow a business with instincts. You build the business with insights. What does the data tell me? How many cars are we washing in a day? How many plates of food are we able to serve in a day? How many customers are we serving? Before you think of growing. Growing is very important, that everybody should talk about. We all want to grow big, but the data that you are collecting, later on we shall look at those mechanics you need to make sure that they're in place in order for you to grow. So when you do that, then you're able to make sure that you open another branch, you open another store somewhere, because the data that you're having is able to project the future of that business. But there are three things that I learned from one of the renowned business coaches in Uganda here. It's called Charles Ochishi. There are three things that most of the entrepreneurs, business owners take for granted, and they cause business failure. One of them is you sell your goods on credit and you don't collect. Charles, when you go to supermarkets, majority of them study their businesses. In most cases, they don't pay there and then. So when you start a business, are you going to allow credit on it? And if you're allowing credit, what time?
To what extent? Is that what you're talking about?
For example, if I've supplied today, how long should that money stay with the person who is distributing your product to the next supply? Are we together? There is when you write those proposals, when you write those contracts, you usually find that maybe you are paid after 1 week, after a fortnight, 30 days, 60 days, 90 or 120 days. So are you able to finance before you allow that credit? So the moment you sell your goods on credit and you don't collect, there's going to be a problem. Secondly, the other thing that most business owners fail to adhere, I told you that data must tell you that you are able to grow. If the data says that you cannot grow, don't, because that will be unplanned expansion. When you expand without a plan, it will also fail. Then the last one, number 3, we've talked about the first two. Selling on credit and you don't collect, it will kill your business. 2, don't grow without following the data that you have. That's an unplanned expansion. Just because the business has done well from here, you think it will do well in another location. You need to do research. You need to look at how long can that new business, that new branch, cling onto the old one before it is weaned off, so that it's able to its own.
Before we look into expansion, like you need to have a branch here and the other side. Let's begin by this idea of someone starting business, because sometimes some arguments can come that we start businesses in the wrong place or wrong places to say. You find someone has not done research of the place, so by the time you bring that thing there, you realize that you don't have customers. But there is also the other aspect where you find that sometimes you open something, it picks up, then eventually it drops. But you want to stay on top. You want that business to grow. In that situation, you've invested. Does that mean that you can change, demolish this down, and start afresh?
Charles, the number one thief of businesses is the owners. That's why I said the character and capacity of the owner to run the business. You have sold your goods. For example, let's assume you're a hardware dealer and you've sold your goods. You know that a jerrycan of paint they've supplied you at 70,000.
Yes.
But you have sold it at 75,000. Okay? What is your profit? It is 5,000. The mistake that most business owners make as to why they start, customers are there, but they are not able to restock. They are looking for money to restock. I usually tell people who come for business advice that in most cases, it is you. The business needs a deliverance, not from demons, but from you. Because you have sold 10 jerrycans of paint, that is 750,000, for example. The mistake that business owners make is to see the 750,000 as their money they have made that day, without putting into consideration that first there is a restocking 70,000 that for buying you should put it aside. There is rent, there is paying workers, there is, at the end of the day, out of the 10 jerrycans you sold, it was 50,000 that the business has made. Out of 50,000, there are other expenses that need to be sorted out. The problem is, even when we remove the capital, 70,000, and you eat up the 5,000 on top of the jerrycan, next time when you're to pay rent, you'll pick from the capital. Then the business goes down. Are we together? That is one. So my advice is that never touch growing business money, and never call business money your money.
But then at the same time, they say that eat profit and leave the principal.
Yes.
So doesn't that contradict?
When they say eat profit, does not mean that you eat it all. Never eat it all. That's why even when you're earning your salary, we advise you never eat it all. When you eat it all, you will become a slave to it.
So what percentage would someone give if you're if you're getting salary, because you're saying never eat it all?
It depends from person to person and the circumstances that person is facing at that point. But then when we talk about business, I encourage 50 to 60% of the net profits that you have earned from your business should be plowed back to the business for the growth of the business. Charles, without putting back profits into the business, no amount of prayers, no amount of customers will grow your business. Let me give you a simple example. Let me use an ordinary example. You're a car dealer, okay? You would buy and sell animals. If you bought a bull at say 1,500,000 and you sold it at 1,800,000, your profit is 300,000. Are we together? But out of that 300,000, you have to cut off the market dues, you have to cut off the transporting that animal, okay, the food you ate. Even in corporate events, you have called that client, you have gone for that meeting, somebody drew for you the contract. Those are all expenses you have to remove. The moment you eat up all the 300,000 and you don't keep aside something for the growth of the business, it will collapse. Because the next time you will not be able to buy the bull of 1.5 million. You'll be now buying of 1.3 and the business will be coming down. It's okay for us to enjoy part of the profits, okay? But it should not be all. It should not be all. Most oftenly, this is what the problem is. Most people start a business to facilitate a lifestyle.
What does that mean?
Now, there's a difference. In most cases, we advise that. Do you know that a business is an entity of its own?
Of course, you're supposed to separate
it's
yourself
like
from
a child. It's your own brain. It's your own child. You can't suck out the blood this child is supposed to use for growth. You can't eat the food the child is supposed to eat for growing. Do you get it? Now, the problem most entrepreneurs make is that they don't differentiate. So in most cases, people start businesses to facilitate a lifestyle, not to create a legacy. That's why they are comfortable when they sell in a day, they have 200,000 shillings in their drawer. They're okay. Because once you're running a business to facilitate a lifestyle, your thinking is, have I paid rent? Have I paid my children's school fees? Are my children eating? Am I sleeping well? Are we together? It's all about you. But when you start a business to serve a customer, you will not be bothered by the amount of money that is in the drawer, but you'll be bothered to count on how many customers you're serving.
All right. Yeah, and that is why we are bringing you the profit path here at the Japis. Yeah, we said here at Japis, you can come and do the car washing, you can come and do refreshments, you can even come and do some small meetings and at the gardens here. And today we are discussing the basic ways that someone can use or can practice in order to foster that business to grow into another level. But then after growing it to another level, how do you stay on top? Yeah, Julius.
Yes.
There are people that we have seen that have grown to heights but falling down like chicken. You know, where you'd say that, yes, this person has progressed in business. Because even in business, we have small scale business. We have people who are middle scale business. But there are also people who have stayed on top there. We have always seen them up there. Someone is a supplier, someone is doing what, someone is what, projects and so on. But at the end of the day, there are some constraints that we have seen that someone has fallen down. What do you think?
Charles, I will give you a quote by Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is an American who has done well in business. He says that in a crisis, the best investment by far is to invest in yourself. That's one. And he continues to say,
investing into yourself.
Into yourself.
But at the same time, you say it's not about yourself. It's about a customer. And then you also say that, you know, if you put in business to benefit you, not a customer, you will be in trouble.
Now, let me make this clear.
Yes.
Remember when I told you that the character and the capacity of the owner to run the business determines how far that business will go. If your brain sees here, your business will be here. In order for you to grow to this level, for your business to grow to this level, it needs your mind as well to grow to that level. So to invest in yourself is to make sure that you understand the systems that you're going to put into your business in order for the successful operation and the service of the customers that you are serving. So to invest in yourself, before you look at your competitor, before you look at capital, before you look at, ask yourself. That's why Warren Buffett says that in a crisis, not only in a crisis, but I encourage people, that's why they say that you'll never find someone who has invested in him or herself poor. Why do we go to school? Charles, why?
Yeah, we go
to get knowledge.
School, to get knowledge,
okay,
but above all,
yes,
to change life.
To change life.
Yes.
Now,
that's why
in case you want
to change home.
Yeah. When you want to change and stay on top of your business, that's why we are saying. That's why Warren Buffett says that by far the greatest investment is in yourself. Because if you don't have the capacity to manage that amount of money, your body will chemically make structures and systems that will reduce you to the level that you're supposed to be.
Because so what is an investment then? Is it about something physical that people can see, that, you know, Julius has cars, Julius has land, Julius has houses and so on? Or it's simply an idea that turns into something physical?
You're very correct at your last point. Everything that we see today was somebody's idea. Okay? That's why I was watching something and I was liking the way you brought it, turning an idea into a business. You can't start a business when it has not yet struck in your mind as an idea. Okay? Now, your ability, your capacity to translate that idea into reality is now what leads to the birth of the business. Okay, now let me bring this point home. Business, first of all, most people think that business is having a location, a registered name, where you go to work from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock. No, business is simply any action, anything that you can do for commercial value. If I am able to slash your compound and you pay me, I'm into business. Do you agree with it? If I can supply you with water, are we together? And you're paying me, is basically business is an exchange of a service or a good for commercial value. That is a business. So now your capacity to turn your idea into anything that brings in commercial value to you, that is a business. So it does not mean that you should only have a registered office where people write applications. You can be in business at your home when you're keeping your birds. You can be in business when you're in your house, you are doing a tailoring business, and people bring you business at your home. Okay, so that one should be cleared first. I want to take you back to Warren Buffett. The other part, you've invested in yourself. It's a question I was interested in that you asked. Now, somebody has reached this level. How should he remain consistent at this level? That's why Warren Buffett goes ahead to say that, of course, he starts by saying, in a crisis, the best investments by far is in yourself. Then when all is doing well, invest in systems. Invest in systems. Because when you're glorious, when you're doing well, that is when the brain will switch off. Why? When the money is there, there is always a soft spot in every human being called recognition, the urge to be recognized. That's why people give handouts, they give money to people. Are we together?
You go for a burial.
You go for a burial, you are putting in money. You're going for a party, you're putting in money because it is there. Now, why you are supposed to invest in systems? Your systems will tell you that in this year, our financial system, in our finance and in our financial system, we are saying we are only available with 2 million shillings or 3 million to give out as donations. That's why when your business grows to a certain level, I think that's why the good book also says that to him who is more, who more is given, more is expected. Are we together? So your financial manual will be telling you that in a year we are only able to give out 3 million. When you're done giving out the 3 million, the systems are already telling you that don't give out again. The moment you give out, you'll be pulling your business down. Secondly, you should invest in systems like HR, human resource. When should we hire? Who should we hire? You cannot wake up from your business because it is glorious at this moment and you go to the village and your uncle is telling you that you see your cousin is here,
he's a graduate,
he's a graduate, is nowhere. Then you say, I will see where to fix. Take that person wherever you can take. The business does not need, the HR manual will tell you we don't need that business, we don't need that person, the business cannot support. So the system will guide you. Okay? Customer care and marketing. That is another system you should build as a business. Once you grow, that's why we say, yes, you can start from here. But as you grow, make sure that you institutionalize your business. You put systems into the business such that you stay afloat. I think you don't get surprised when people say that the rich people are mean. You've ever heard that expression?
Yeah, there is also say that.
There is the say. But still at the end of the day, these people support them. That's why any rich person will tell you that I support you, not for me to become you, but to help you come where I am. Are we together? That's why they finance your vision, your idea. They rarely give money to people who want to eat. Okay, yes, it's okay. to give out money, but can the business sustain it? Is it what the systems say? That is how you stay on top.
Now, the idea of
Yes.
knowledge,
Yes.
where does that belong in these factors of making business grow and boom? Because we have also realized that there are people who do not have much knowledge of the business that they are doing. You find that someone has the potential, someone has the resources, but then when someone starts well, you know, sources of learning something new becomes a problem because his understanding in that business is not all that circumferenced.
True. That's why they say that. I think if it is not Dale Carnegie, Andrew Carnegie, I forget exactly who said it. He wanted an epitaph to be put on his grave, that here lies a man who knew how to attract people who were more intelligent than him. Okay? That's why in a business, when you're growing, you need to, I talked of systems, but as you're growing, you need now to bring in people who are smarter than you in that. That's why I may not be an accountant. Not everybody who has a business is an accountant, but they hire accountants. Not everybody who is rich, who has a lawyer, is a lawyer. No, but the lawyer, you hire a lawyer to protect your wealth. Okay? You hire, it's Hitler. You know, this idea of growing the muscle. Hitler came up with this, got some scientists and put them in a room and told them, the problem I want you to solve is that we want, if a soldier is shot in the battlefield, we bring him home, treat him in 24 hours and he's able to go back to, are we together? That's why you have R&D, research and development in the team. In your organization, research and development should be there. You may not have the ideas, but the research and development team does that. Are we together? So that's where you put those systems, you bring in people who are wiser than you to do that. So you cannot give an excuse that I have the resources and
I don't have much knowledge on this business.
Then it's also an excuse. It's laziness. There is no excuse valid, Charles, today as per now, for you to tell me that you cannot do anything. It's not there. But so long as you're willing to learn, there is information everywhere. And that's why we are doing this show.
So how are you able to check the structures then? Because you're saying that build systems, put structures, but then you also know that at times the very structures that you build can bring you down, can put the business down.
Now that's why, Charles, that's why business is a game with changing rules. How you play it.
What does that mean?
I think when you look at tennis, we celebrate Serena Williams. In football, we celebrate Lionel Messi. We celebrate Ronaldo. Why? Because their rules have been there for a longer period of time and they are not changing. So you can master and hit it. Okay? What if they change that? Instead of the football ball being round, let it be oval. Instead of the goalpost being of this length, can we change it? Then it will be difficult to win in other games. But business is ever changing. And let me tell you, there will always be frustration. Even your very own people will always frustrate you. Your personal person, your wife, your husband, your child will frustrate you. Are we together?
How?
But then, yes, they can.
How?
You have
in business.
In business, yes. Because in most cases, most people think that because they have started a business, their children should take over. You bring in a child into the operations of the business, and the child feels the ownership, since you are the father or the mother who has started the business, and is not tutored to the vision of the business. He wastes the money. You have sent him to do this and that. We are going to stock A, B, C. What he does, he turns the money and goes to feed with a girlfriend or a boyfriend. He has eaten the money. That's a risk. That's why business, we say, in business, it is a risk reward system. You take a risk today to get a reward. Not every risk you take has a reward. Some of them, it is lessons. Yes, Charles. So it does not mean that when a frustration, the frustrations will always be there. And if you want to start a business and you think everything will flow smoothly, it doesn't work that way. Interview any successful person, any rich person. There were hurdles they had to come out from. And you'll realize that the very people, even in church, the very ones who claim they're holy, even those very ones, they have clashes when it comes to finances, when it comes to coexistence. So, Charles, frustration will always be there. But then, I think it is Oliver Wendell Holmes again who say that a setback is a setup for a comeback. It does not mean that when you get a frustration today, you leave it. That's why most people don't succeed in business, because once you get one problem, you give up. And that is not the way businesses do. When you interview rich people, they will tell you how hard it was for them to climb out of the hurdles they went through. But what happened? Their mindset. That's why we say that in most cases they say that entrepreneurs, as if they have, or business people, as if they have one wire off. They are failed today, they get back on the same thing again and again, over and all together, until you succeed.
Yes, still on the profit path here on ECHELITE Media. We are digesting things that someone can do in order to prosper in business, but not necessarily prospering alone. How do you stay on top? Because in many instances, people have started businesses and along the way, things fall apart. And then, you know, these are great people, great women, everyone looked up to, but then the business is normal. So that's why we brought to you this topic tonight, that how can you stay on top? How can your business thrive and you maintain and manage the status quo in business? And that's why we are here at Dajapi's car wash lodge, where you can do your refreshments. You can come and do car washing, but as you wait for that car there to dry up, you can have refreshments. Now let's look at Julius Records. Some people believe that even if you do record keeping and you don't understand what you've recorded, there's a big problem, because you cannot know where you made losses and where you've hit profits. So how would that be a factor in the progress of business and making sure that that business stays on top?
Charles, it's a very good question. That's why I'm a fan of the show. Sometimes you wonder, whenever I watch your podcast, sometimes I wonder, but why does Charles ask me that? That is so technical. Why? So I'm a fan. Now, Charles, when you are starting businesses, that's why in most cases you find that you start a business as a sole person. But as it grows, you bring in people. So what do? When you're starting the business, you're mastering what that business is supposed to do. If you are thinking long term to grow that business, after mastering, you're supposed to document it. Whoever you bring on board, you are supposed to train that person. After training, you delegate whatever you're supposed to give that person to do. Okay? Now, in most cases, why our empires can be taken away from us, it is because we have not taken the time to master what the business is. Okay? To master what the business is. Business records are a very key aspect in business. If you don't, in fact, viewers, if you don't keep records, your business is headed nowhere. Because every other thing can fall apart, but your data, when records now give you the data that you are supposed to evaluate. That this month, how many customers did we serve? This week, this day, how much money did we make? You may not be able to account 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 customers, but the money that has come in, you can be able to analyze that money, and you're able to get to estimate the number of customers you're serving. That records, there is no excuse for you not to keep records. It's not there. Business records, you should be able to keep them. But of course, that's why I told you, as a business owner, for you to grow, there is always what you say, in order for you to grow, some of us who are inclined to gym work, in order for you to build the muscle, you have to tear it. Okay? And for you to tear it means you put it under extreme tension. Are we together? For it to develop, so that by the time you put, the muscle can be seen. Are we together? Now, that is the point. We say there should be time under tension. You pay the price to learn. That's why I told you again that in a crisis, the best investment you can make is in yourself. This is Warren Buffett speaking. So how can you fail as a business owner to read and analyze the data that your business is producing? Which means your capacity as the business owner is not yet at that level to manage that growth. That's why you find the business grows to this level and it comes back here to match up.
So
with
you want to marry the aspect of education in business, but if you marry that aspect of education in business, you have also seen in this country people who are damn rich but they didn't go far as far as education is concerned. But here you're saying internalize, understand the documents and see where you've hit profits and maybe got some losses.
Now, Charles, there is a very key difference between being certificated and being educated. What do you mean? Most people have certificates, but they are not educated. They are ignorant. They are illiterate. Actually, I would say illiterate, but because they have the papers, there is a very big difference. You see, when you're certificated, that's why you say, somebody will say, I have a diploma, a degree, a PhD in business administration, but he's not able to manage business. That person is certificated, is not educated. The person, a P3, P4 graduate. Look at our own people here. We have bus companies. Not to castigate anybody, not to underlook, but they have had phenomenal success. Okay. The late Papa Etilu. What education? But what certificates did he carry? But he had the education of the mind. Are we together? I think there is a book by Carter G. Woodson. It's called The Miseducation of a Negro. Okay? We think that education is where you go to class and get a paper. Are we together? It does not mean that. Education,
so how are you capacity able to comprehend these statements, these dollars, the two, if you have not acquired the best education? Because trust me, even those that we are saying didn't go to school, they're also crying. They even say, I wish I'd also gone to school. I've been cheated a lot, but because he has put some structures that can do the counter check, now somebody can be able to explain to him or her very well, and that's why the business is thriving.
Okay, how did this illiterate person running a business get to know that he was cheated?
Yeah, because you know the money you've spent, and when the simple accounting is done for you, that how much did we get this month, and this year, there's also financial reports, quarterly reports, daily reports, and then even weekly reports.
But do you believe that there are very many people who have never stepped to school who have doing well business-wise, other than people who have gone to school?
Them.
What have they done?
Some of them
first. What have they done? First of all, Charles, the issue of crisis, the issue of challenges in business, it is a must. They will happen, whether you like it or you don't like. They will happen, whether you have a PhD, whether you have a master's, whether you have what, or you don't have any certificate. So long as you're in business, hurdles will be there. Okay. That one is a flat rate. We are all playing on the equal ground. Okay? Now, these people, that's why, again, I'll tell you, for you to grow the business, you grow yourself first. Okay? That's why you start a business as one person. and then you master it. If I did this, this is the outcome. If I did this, this is the outcome. Are we together? Now, which of the two am I supposed to continue doing? What should I improve on? What should I remove from my business? These are things that you will be doing as you're mastering. Now, when you have mastered it, because you've done it again and again and again, the person that you are bringing in has to fall into the culture of the business. Are we together? And the culture will always be controlled by the owner of the business. Are we together? So you cannot say that just you need to go to school in order for you to start a business. No, those are excuses, Charles. And trust me, again I'll tell you, there is no insulation against risks in business. It's not there.
So now if we say that there is nothing about that in business, someone in this country will say, the policies that we have in this country, there are people who have even run out of businesses because policies, taxes, what and so on does not allow someone to continue with that business. Even those businesses that were on top, people are trying to subsidize and remove certain things to match with the status quo. Now, in policy making, look at our country right now. What do you say about the policies versus the business that people do as far as maintaining and managing the heights of these businesses that we do?
A good question, Charles. I want you to study in a business that they say policies are strict on. Okay? In a line of business, the policies are strict, but in that very business line, there are people who are succeeding. One, you cannot fight a policy. A policy remains a policy. If they are saying don't sell this, don't. If they say pay taxes, pay. Are we together? You cannot. That's why even the greatest leader of all time, Jesus, said that you need to give Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give God what belongs to God. If the policy says don't do this, don't. You will hit a snag. And then there is one thing I learned from Charles Ndire. He said, in order for you to stay at the top of your game, consistently doing your business generation after generation, don't go for political patronage. I don't want to discuss politics, but let the viewers chew and understand that. When you're in business, there's an American who said that I've stayed in business because I never criticize any, but I praise everyone. So policy remains policy. Let's leave out the issue of politics, but don't go for political patronage if you want to.
Actually, we are not discussing politics in that context, but we are trying to look at policies because politicians formulate those policies. But then I'm bringing it in the context of business to thrive, because there are people who have found it difficult for their businesses to move on because of policies. Now, these policies that we're talking about, it can be taxes, it can be rules of procedure that people have seen like it's hard for someone to have that business grow. Someone remains and say, okay, I think I should better do it at a small scale. Yet someone is supposed to fly and get into the top of the game. Now, how can someone move amidst or in the waves of policies to ensure that his business stays on top, his businesses do not come down? Because if you say, yeah, it's true, policies will remain policies and you cannot fight policies, but in that wave of policies, bad or good, how are you going to swim in the wave as a businessman?
Very simple. Follow the policies. Don't fight them.
Even when they are not favoring?
If they are not favoring you, it means that you have not learned and understood that policy. Learn and understand it. Because in that same line of business, there are people succeeding. who are you who wants to go against the policies? The policy remains a policy. Unless you have money that you're going to put behind bars to influence parliament to, for example, to change the laws. Okay? And in most cases, you find these policies, they protect us. Okay? That's why they say, Mahatma Gandhi, among his 7 sins of social sins, he said that business without morality, if you want to do business without morality, you may not be able to penetrate through the policies, because policies try to check and balance the what? The morality of those doing business. Why do you want to be the one who has a tight weighing scale? You want to cheat. The policy will come and say that do the right thing. This is the right thing you're supposed to do. If you did the right thing, you will be okay. The policy says don't smuggle. Are we together? But you're doing smuggling. Okay, whoever succeeds in it, it's okay. There are those who have done it and are doing it, okay? But the policy says that when they get you, the loss is higher, the risk is bigger, you can't manage it. They will take away your goods. So Charles, this one is a very simple thing, very simple. You don't have to fight policies, follow what the policies say. If you have not understood it, don't go into it. Give someone else to interpret for you. Pay for that time, for that person to interpret. If you can't do that, change another line of business. Let me tell you, every business has a line of those who give solution. In every business, there is no only one washing facility, car wash facility in Soroti. There are very many.
Okay.
Are we together?
Right, thank you so much. When we get back, we will be looking at loans. We want to digest on loans, whether loans are things that are good for business progress. It's the Profit Path. My name is Charles, and I have Julius Echeret here. He's the managing director. ECHELITE Investment Partners, Limited, here in Soroti City, and we are here at Japis. That is where the podcast is coming in from. Now, let's look at loans, Julius. Do you borrow the idea of having loans in business progress?
Yes.
Someone to go for?
Yes.
Why?
Loans are very good, but if the loan fails, it is not the loan that is a problem. The person who has taken the loan is the problem. When you're taking a loan, the first lawyer to read through that loan agreement is you. Okay? Loans are the ones that boost your growth. And the counterpart for loans is supplier credit.
So at what point does or can a loan make your business progress, and at what point can a loan make your business run down?
Now, first of all, loans are good. That's why there is something I told you at the beginning, that you need to analyze the data that your business is giving you. A friend of mine says that data does not lie. It is politicians and idiots who read the data that lie. And it is Jay-Z who said that women can lie, men can lie, but numbers don't lie. Now, you have one thing when you're going for loans. What the bank looks at is the cash flow. Cash flow. How much money hits into your account, how much money goes out of your account. Are we together? That is the basis of taking a loan, your business profile. Once you go to the bank and the bank has advised you, so long as you've given them correct information and they advise you that you cannot succeed with this loan, don't take it. Okay? Don't take it. They have seen that your cash flow cannot maintain that loan at that level. Most people run to think of collateral, but collateral does not. It's something that the bank looks at the last option.
That in case
the business does not. So what are the assumptions you're going to give to that loan officer in order for that loan to be approved? But loans are very good because they help you open new branches. They help you to improve on your product or service line. Those are all, they help you to have capital which you could have not had for that growth. Are we together? But then, in order for a loan to succeed, you need to be certain of your cash flow. Are we together? There are three things that make a loan not to succeed in a business. One, most people never treat, actually they treat a loan as their money. First of all, when you take a loan is somebody else's money that you are supposed to pay with associated costs like interest, like stamp duty. There are so many things, disbursement fee, all those things have to come in that loan. Now, before you take a loan, be your own lawyer. Read through that agreement. Read between the lines, because it is very painful. Today, Charles, there are people who have lost empires because of loans.
Yeah.
There are people. Of recent, you could have read about Kampala Cement is under receivership. Why? Because of borrowing. And I was telling you the other time that one of the reasons as to why businesses fail is reckless borrowing. But borrowing is good. I come from the business have made people succeed. Let me tell you, there is a verse I will refer you to read. It is Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7.
What does it say?
It says, the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender. So when you go to get a loan, it means you have to work harder. Are we together? You have to sleep less to make sure that the loan is paid, else you will pay it with the collateral. Are we together? So that's why I was telling you that your cash flow, take it to the bank and the bank will advise you. If the bank advises you that you cannot afford, are we together? You don't argue with them. And also, you need to know that banks have targets. Okay? Banks have targets. Centenary Bank alone disburses about 1 billion per quarter. Is it per quarter or per month? I forget it. But they disburse 1 billion. It is upon you, the owner of the business, to know whether you want that amount or not. You want to open another branch, but because your cash flow is good, the bankers will advise you to take a larger amount. Are we together? Just because they want to meet their targets. So don't borrow for the sake of borrowing. Most people are trapped this way because your business, your cash flow here is doing well, and you end up getting a loan that you cannot manage, a loan that you cannot multiply, the loan that you cannot grow, and yet you're supposed to pay it with associated costs. It will lead to the failure of the business. But loans are really very good. It is called other people's money. Managing other people's money. It's a very good thing in business. And for me, I would encourage the business to always borrow. And by the way, if you borrowed 10 million this month, okay, this year your capacity to borrow is 10 million. As you grow the business, by next year, you should be able to double, you should be able to triple the amount you borrow. Because a loan must come and leave you who has borrowed it better than the way you were. If the loan leaves you worse than the situation you were when you borrowed it, it was a wrong loan. You took it when you were not ready to take it. You didn't have the capacity to manage it. You didn't have the character to manage it. Okay? Character to manage the loan. Do you keep your promises? Are we together? Those are things that, that's why in the beginning I was telling you that the character and the capacity of the person running the business. So the banker tells you, a banker called Opolot in Centenary Bank tells you, according to your cash flow, according to your paperwork that you have given us, you are asking for 5 million. But this business, you can even get 20 million. Then you come very happy, pocketing. I had a meeting with the bankers. They say I'm good.
They even say that I can get more than this.
I wanted 5 million, but they are telling me I can get 20. Bankers have targets, and they will do anything possible to make sure that they sell the loan to you. If my work is to sell shoes, Charles, I will come and convince you to buy a shoe. It is your responsibility to know that, Julius, not today. I cannot take that shoe today. Instead of this one, let me take this one. I want this one.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you, thank you, Julius. I know we'll have time to talk about loans and business another time.
Okay.
But today we were simply looking at how best can someone practice all whatever he can, or he could, or she could, to make sure that the business is on top, progress and success of business. So I think today we have come to the end of this program. It's the Profit Path program here at ECHELITE Media, or Instant Media, and we had this episode with Julius Echeret, who is a managing director, ECHELITE Investments Partners Limited, here in Soroti City. Quick one, Julius. What is that thing that you'd want someone to move with? Like, if after viewing and understanding this program, and you feel like this one should be a take home.
Okay.
Can you look at the camera?
Thank you so much. I think most people had expected things like, in this kind of discussion, things like customer care, customer service. This is a mature discussion that I am having here. Those are things that anybody who is doing business should understand by
It is
today.
obvious.
It's
That one is
obvious.
obvious.
And if you don't do those obvious things, you will fail. That's why Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest NBA players, he was interviewed, and he was asked, somebody went to interview him. Usually for him, at 4, they start their drills. But for him, he would wake up at 3. By 3:30, he's already in the gym. Okay? But for the first 45 minutes, he does basic things. Altogether, basic. So he was asked, why are you the best? He said, because I never get tired of the basics. So those basics are a foundation of the business. But then if you truly want to grow, I think you need to pay keen attention to this discussion that we have had. Now, back to Charles' question. I think for you to be able to grow, especially based on the program that the discussion that we've had today, one, you as the person running the business, what is your capacity and what's your character? Define from the onset of your business, what is the purpose of starting this business? Most people start businesses to make money, but the ultimate reason of starting businesses is to make and maintain customers. The moment you maintain customers, growth is automatic. It's something I should have talked about. It's automatic because a happy customer improves the way he buys. He buys more. He buys oftenly. He refers friends to buy from you. And then, of course, the other one is that he will tell you what next to put your money into, so that they will buy. They will advise you. So those basic things are important. So you as the owner of the business, from the onset, are you starting this business to facilitate your lifestyle such that your children are studying in an okay school, you are driving an okay car, but you need to think beyond yourself. That's why now we encourage people to think of a legacy that they want to build. Transgenerational businesses. It is hard for you to find a business that has survived 3-4 generations here in Uganda. It's very hard. Most of them, when the owner dies, 12 months. There are so many examples I would bring. Within 12 months, children squander everything, and you talked of loans, and the loans come and take the collateral because they were not tutored into the business. So I think the most important thing for you to take from here is that when you're starting a business, decide why you're starting that business. Is it to finance a lifestyle, or you want to build a legacy? When you're thinking of a legacy, clients are at the heart of your discussion, because even the market has changed. It has moved into 4 different dimensions, from relationship buying from a marketplace. I know, Charles, just this one, then a wrap up. From the marketplace, whereby your mother, my mother, They used to buy from a specific seller because of the relationship they used to have. There were no financial agreements written. There were no agreements signed that you have borrowed goods worth 50,000. It was because of that relationship. But it moved from there to a product whereby I don't care whether I have a relationship with you or not, but I want a product that satisfies my needs and wants at the most affordable cost I can get it. It moved from here, it moved to a customer. That's why today we encourage all companies and all people to have customer relationship officers. Are we together? They call principal PRO. That is the terminology they use now. Because a customer is a king in the business. Of course, in most cases, they are not correct, but they are king. You can have your goods, a very super product, but if they don't buy, you don't go to the bank.
Okay.
And today, we have gone to a platform. So you need to, those are the 4 fundamental shifts in the marketplace.
Yeah, the 4 fundamental shifts in business. He has highlighted all here. And still, it's a Profit Path program that you've been following here on ECHELITE Media. My name is Charles Keru, your host. And today we had a privilege to have Julius Echeret here, who is the Managing Director, ECHELITE Investments Partners Limited here in Soroti City, to talk about the basic, the things that you need to do in order for your business to grow. So see you then in the next episode. For now, I want to appreciate the production team here, Musa and the team, that thanks for bringing it all here for our viewers. And for now and today, let's say we meet then. Bye-bye.